discovered my younger sister kissing my boyfriend just days before her wedding, and when I told her fiancé, he stunned everyone at the ceremony. As a 28-year-old woman, I found myself caught in a messy situation with my 26-year-old sister and my 29-year-old boyfriend. With her wedding approaching, I started noticing odd behavior from my sister whenever she was around my boyfriend. At first, it was subtle. Small things that made me uneasy. She'd compliment him excessively, saying things like, "You're so witty," even when his jokes weren't that funny. And she'd laugh a bit too loudly at everything he said. Initially, I brushed it off, thinking her excitement about the wedding might be making her overly friendly. But as days passed, I saw more troubling signs. She'd find excuses to touch him lightly, resting a hand on his arm during a chat or brushing against him as she walked by. Her glances lingered on him when he wasn't looking, stirring a knot in my stomach. One night, after a family dinner where her flirtations were blatant, I brought it up with my boyfriend. "Did you notice how Sarah acted tonight?" I asked. He seemed puzzled and said, "What do you mean?" I pointed out her excessive laughter, touches, and stares. He shrugged it off, saying, "You're reading too much into it. She's just excited about her wedding. It's nothing." His words didn't ease my doubts, though. Something felt wrong, and I resolved to watch more closely, hoping I was mistaken. The next few weeks were tense. Whenever we were around my sister, I couldn't stop noticing her behavior. She always positioned herself near my boyfriend, sitting next to him when possible, and asking for his help with wedding tasks, even when I was right there. During a family barbecue at my parents' house, I stepped inside briefly to use the bathroom. When I came back, I saw them in a corner of the yard, standing too close, talking quietly. She giggled at something he said, and my stomach churned. As soon as they saw me, they stepped apart, and she walked away like nothing happened. I was furious, but held back from making a scene at the family event. That night, I asked my boyfriend what they'd been talking about. He said it was just wedding details, like music choices, but his answer didn't satisfy me. Why were they so close for such a casual chat? He sighed, clearly annoyed, and insisted I was overreacting. "She's just being friendly," he said. I couldn't hold back anymore and told him she was practically throwing herself at him and he wasn't stopping it. He looked hurt and asked what I expected him to do. She was my sister, and he was just being polite. I suggested he set boundaries to show he wasn't interested in anything beyond friendliness. He insisted there was nothing to clarify, that I was imagining problems. Our argument went nowhere, leaving us both frustrated and upset as we went to bed, unresolved. The next day, I knew I had to confront my sister. Ignoring the issue was only making things worse. I called her and asked to meet for coffee. She agreed cheerfully, seemingly unaware of my concerns. At the cafe, I was nervous, my hands shaking as I stirred my drink, while she chatted happily about her wedding plans, oblivious to my discomfort. Finally, I interrupted her and said we needed to talk about something serious. She looked surprised and asked what was wrong. I took a deep breath and told her her behavior around my boyfriend Tom was making me uncomfortable. Her flirting, touching, and lingering looks had to stop. Her face shifted from surprise to confusion, then anger. She denied flirting, insisting she was just being friendly since Tom was like family. I stood my ground, saying her actions were inappropriate and distressing. She laughed, but it was forced, and she called my concerns ridiculous. The conversation grew tense, and I could tell I'd hit a nerve pressed further, saying her constant need to be near him, touch him, and laugh at his jokes wasn't just friendliness, it was crossing a line. Her face reddened with anger, and she accused me of being insecure, shocked I'd make such claims so close to her wedding. I explained it wasn't about insecurity but respect, and her behavior needed to stop. Abruptly, she stood, her chair scraping the floor, and said she wouldn't listen to my paranoid accusations. "If you can't trust your own sister, that's your problem," she snapped, storming out. I sat there questioning if I'd overreacted, feeling awful. When I got home, my boyfriend noticed my distress and asked what happened. I recounted the conversation, and he sighed, saying I'd made a mistake and likely hurt Sarah deeply, especially before her wedding. I asked if he was taking her side, and he said he wasn't, but he doubted she was flirting and thought my direct approach was a mistake. His words left me conflicted, wondering if I'd handled it wrong. Tears welled up as I asked, "So I should have just ignored it?" He hugged me, suggesting I could have discussed it with him first or approached Sarah less confrontationally. He worried she was now upset with both of us, which could make the wedding awkward. I pulled away, asking if he thought it was all my fault. He said he didn't mean that, but felt I'd let my emotions take over. We argued without resolution, our perspectives clashing. He went to bed, leaving me alone with my doubts. The following days were strained. My sister stopped talking to me, and my parents, noticing her distress, called to ask why she was upset. I explained, but they thought I'd overreacted too. As the wedding neared, I wasn't sure if Sarah still wanted me as a bridesmaid, a role that now felt heavy. My boyfriend suggested we both attend to show no hard feelings, but the idea of watching Sarah walk down the aisle while she was so angry made me sick. I tried calling her, but she ignored my calls and voicemails apologizing for how things went. I even visited her apartment, but she shut the door on me. My anxiety grew, and though my boyfriend urged me to let it go, I couldn't shake my unease. I had nightmares of showing up at the wedding and everyone staring at me. After confronting Sarah, things worsened. She told our mom about my accusations, and Mom called, furious, yelling that I was selfish for causing drama before Sarah's wedding. "How could you accuse your sister of that?" she shouted, refusing to hear my side. She demanded I apologize and fix things. The family tension was unbearable. Sarah still wouldn't speak to me, my parents were upset, and my boyfriend kept saying I was exaggerating, which left me more hurt and frustrated. A week before the wedding, I went to my parents' house to try to resolve things. As I approached the door, I heard quiet voices from the side of the house. Curious, I walked to the garden and froze at what I saw. Sarah and Tom were behind a large plant, locked in a passionate embrace, kissing deeply. Her legs were around his waist, his hand under her shirt. They were so caught up they didn't notice me. It felt like a punch to the gut. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Then rage and betrayal surged through me. "What the hell is this?" I screamed, my voice shaking. They jumped apart, their guilty faces confirming everything. Sarah went pale and Tom stammered, "It's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. Tears streamed down my face as I choked out, "How could you? My sister and my boyfriend." Sarah started crying, sobbing. "I'm so sorry. We didn't mean for this to happen." I couldn't listen to their excuses. The pain was too raw. I turned and ran to my car, ignoring their calls to come back. As I drove off, my phone rang repeatedly. Tom, Sarah, then my mom. But I couldn't answer. At home, I packed a bag with essentials, sent Tom a text saying, "We're done, don't contact me," and turned off my phone. I left for a hotel in a nearby city, unsure of my next steps. The wedding was days away, but I couldn't attend. My relationship was over, my bond with my sister likely broken forever, and my world felt shattered. Everyone had made me feel crazy for suspecting something, but I was right. The pain of that truth was almost unbearable, and I wondered how I'd ever trust again. I asked for advice on moving forward. After the shock of seeing Sarah and Tom, I spent days and days ignoring their calls and messages as well as my parents. I was too overwhelmed, but I knew I had to tell Mark, Sarah's fiancé. With a heavy heart, I called him. He sounded confused, saying Sarah was a mess and that I'd disappeared. I explained everything, my initial suspicions, how everyone dismissed them, and the scene I witnessed in the garden. Mark listened silently, only making small sounds to show he was still there. When I finished, there was a long pause. In a calm voice, he thanked me for telling him and said he needed time to process it before hanging up. I stared at my phone, wondering what he'd do. As the wedding approached, I heard nothing from him or my family. Sarah stopped contacting me, and I feared she'd convinced Mark to forgive her. The thought of her having her dream wedding while my life was in ruins made me sick. I decided I couldn't attend, choosing instead to focus on rebuilding my life alone. On the wedding night, my cousin Emma called, her voice filled with excitement. "You won't believe what happened," she said. She described how everything seemed normal at first. Sarah looked beautiful. Mark stood at the altar. But during the vows, Mark stepped forward and announced he couldn't marry Sarah. He revealed to everyone that she had betrayed her sister by getting involved with her boyfriend. Sarah went pale, and Mark apologized to my parents, explaining why I distanced myself. Emma said Sarah broke down crying, my parents were stunned, and guests whispered in confusion. Mark walked out, leaving Sarah sobbing at the altar. "It was like a movie," Emma said, still shocked. My parents were trying to get answers from Sarah, who was a wreck. Hearing this, I felt vindicated, but also sad for the family's pain. Emma asked if I was okay, and I admitted I wasn't sure. I hadn't wanted it to end like this. After our call, I sat in silence, processing. The truth was out, but at a cost. My bond with Sarah was broken. My relationship with Tom was over, and my family was in chaos. Healing would take time, but I felt a slight relief, free from the weight of hidden truths. I'm unsure what's next, but I know I'll face my family eventually. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time. This experience taught me to trust my instincts and stand up for myself, even when others doubt me. To those who supported me, thank you. Your encouragement means more than you know. To anyone in a similar situation, trust your gut and don't let anyone make you doubt what you see.